Mic check 1 2 1 2. It's the Y2K collector, and my Switch pickups are a little bit sluggish. I'm not gonna lie. We're about 2/3 of the way through February, probably a little bit more, and I've only really picked up about 4 games so far for the Switch, which I'm okay with because it means I'm not wasting my time just buying games that I'm really not interested on that console, or interested in rather. But I just got an announcement from Super Rare that got me really excited. For those of you who don't know, Super Rare is a company that's a lot like your Limited Run or your Strictly Limited. They make limited physical games. They come out with these games. You can download them, I'm pretty sure, but if you want the physical copy of these games, they usually make them in batches of 3 to 4,000 each, right? I used to have a lot more super rare games than I do currently today, but I wound up selling off a bunch of the ones that I just wasn't really super tied to at the time. And I decided to keep these four, being Inmost, Flynn, Son of Crimson, Haiku, and Steriden Binary Stars. Now these are all, Steriden Binary Stars is a shoot 'em up basically. And then Haiku and Inmost, these are kind of like monochromatic 8-bit style Metroidvania style games. And then you have Flynn, Son of Crimson, which is kind of like just like a 16-bit action platformer. So these are all very retro themed, retro styled Switch games that I do enjoy. But they're actually going to be coming out with another game that I'm super psyched about because it plays a lot like, kind of like Ninja Gaiden in a way. It's kind of like a cross between like Ninja Gaiden and like Shatterhand almost, and it's called Cyber Shadow. So Cyber Shadow is a game that I downloaded a long time ago. It was available on the Switch eShop for like $4. I downloaded it, and it was a very interesting and fun kind of 8-bit style side-scrolling platformer. Very cool game. Very cool game. And I was thinking to myself back then, I was like, man, this has to get a physical release. I just know it's going to get a physical release. And sure enough, in my email, I saw an email from Super Rare that they are actually going to be releasing Cyber Shadow. So I'm excited for Cyber Shadow to come out. I'm just waiting for them to make the reservations available online, because I will be putting in my reservation for that. Cyber Shadow is a sick looking game. Totally stoked about it. I'm really hyped for that one. And I think that's really what I'm going to lean towards. I think that's really what I'm going for when it comes to the Switch. These more retro themed games is probably what I'll lean mostly into. I know there's a few that I mentioned in other videos that I'm going to be kind of aiming to pick up. But they're harder to find. They're harder to, like these types of games, you're not going to find them at your Targets or your Walmarts or even your Best Buys. These, you can only order them online. So the only other places you're going to find these types of games are going to be at really mom and pop shops. And unfortunately, the markup on these games at mom and pop shops are going to be crazy. Most of these games, they retail for $29.99, at most $39.99. As you can see, Super Rare, unlike Limited Run games are usually produced in North America. I think they're released in North America. Super Rare is an overseas game. I think they're in Europe. So all of their games come with this like PEG, the PEGI rating. So you're never really going to see like a Super Rare game with like a NTSC rating on it. If you do, it's like bootleg. It's not real. I haven't heard of them producing any games in North America. If you have, let me know down in the comments. I just have not heard anything like that. So that's kind of what I'm leading into when it comes to the Switch, and it's really just going to be hard. If you try to buy these games at a mom and pop shop, they're going to be priced up. But most of them, if you get them for retail, they're $29.99, $39.99. They're not extremely expensive. And that's the good thing about getting these now before they go crazy. Because once the sun sets on the Switch completely, like let's say Nintendo just completely moves away from a console that has the ability to play even the original Switch games or Switch 2 games, that's when you're probably going to see a lot of these games really go up. And that's when the whole limited amount, 3,000, 4,000 is really going to come into play. For some of these games, the value is reflected already. Some of these games are already approaching $100. Some of them are over $100. but you're really not going to see the real price kickers kick in until like later on down the line. You know, some people might say, well, Y2K, you know, this will get a remake in the future. You know, this will get some type of re-release that will crush the value. You know what? It might, but I doubt you'll see something like that from Super Rare. I could easily see something like that happening with like a special reserve or a limited run, but Super Rare is just a little bit different. Super Rare is a lot like Strictly Limited, where I don't really think we'll see something like that happen with these companies. But who am I, right? Who knows? I am not the Nostradamus of gaming. I can't see the future, so there's a chance that they could re-release these games. And if they do, then great. More people will have the opportunity to get them physically, because it's not like you won't be able to play them. You'll still be able to download these games on the Switch eShop. So that's where I'm at with the Switch pickups. We'll see what I can snag over this weekend. I do have a little bit of hunting to try and do. This weekend is going to be all about my daughter. I plan on taking her to a children's museum. So if we can sneak in some gaming in there, we'll go ahead and make it happen. In other news, I finally got a real copy of G.I. Joe Atlantis Factor on the NES. For those of you who know, I watch the channel, I actually ordered this game from GameStop's website, and when they sent it to me, they sent me a fake, a fugazi, a sham, a flim-flam, one that was not real. So I'm actually excited to have this real copy in my collection now. I have G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero on the NES. So, and I've been slowly working on my NES collection. Listen, the NES is, you know, it's not as fun as the Super Nintendo, but there are definitely some good games on the NES. And when you consider the fact that they're making games for the Switch that appear and play just like NES games, it makes me want to get the NES game. So let me know what you think about the Super Rare games. Let me know what you think about the NES down in the comments below, and I'll catch you in the next video. It's the Y2K Collector. Take it easy.